Once again, the Celtics offense is looking like a game of NBA Jam. I want to take a quick look at the offensive philosophy of the Celtics, then go into the specifics of what Mazzulla is running and how it's changed in his sophomore year. The Celtics play with a lot of space, but it's 2024. Every coach on every team is saying how they want to shoot threes. Here's how the Celtics are better at it than most. They put up more threes than anybody else. Having snipers everywhere, including your centers, helps with that beautiful 5-out spacing. Though to be clear, spacing does not equal shooting. Some ways the Celtics free up more space on the court is having their big initiate plays at the top of the key with a perfectly balanced floor around them, with space for wide pin downs and DHOs. There's no easy help here once the first line is broken.
Jaylen Brown says it with his chest.
A new wrinkle is having a guard in the dunker spots. Rather than spamming 5-out like a 15-year-old on 2K, they keep one of the guards in the paint for 4-1 spacing. Look at how much more room ball handlers have to operate. Holiday stays in the dunker spot after a zipper screen. Tatum's got infinite space on the perimeter to work with, and 6'1 Quickly, who's guarding Holiday, has to be the rim protector, who provides no resistance against Tatum. Here is the exact same play when LeVert is guarding Brown. The comfort blanket play is Spain. It's something that goes by a million different names and has become pretty popular in the NBA. It's essentially a ball screen in the middle of the floor, where a guard back screens the screener. They like to involve Hauser or Pritchard as the back screener because they've got a lot of shooting gravity. They went back-to-back in a dicey spot against the Pistons, but with Detroit there needs to be a disclaimer that they have no idea how to defend anything, and it shows here. Burks and Duren are so worried about Keita that no one stops the ball. Twice. Here's the number one defense in the league having the same issue. Reed is so worried about Hauser, while Towns wants to take away the lob, that White gets a free run to the hoop. The well-coached teams in the playoffs will have a standard way to defend this, which normally involves a switch between the two perimeter players. But this gives a pocket for a 3 and makes it harder to hide poor defenders on Hauser. Horn split is the other big staple in Joe's offense. It's ignited by a pass to the big on the wing, then two players will set up horns. It normally involves Tatum screening for White, where Derek can either pop or cut to the rim. They spammed this 3 consecutive possessions against the Pacers and got 9 points. Try 1. White cuts down and Halliburton gets stuck on the screen and calls for the switch late, which draws corner help, and Drew gets the corner pocket 3. Try 2. Halliburton is worried about White cutting to the rim, and Mathurin doesn't want to leave Tatum's body, so White pops and cashes. Try 3. The Pacers switch and Tatum gets to attack the weakest defender on the floor, then draw help and kick to famed elite shooter Al Horford. If you pay attention, you'll see the Celtics run this several times a game, and the play changes depending on what the defense gives them. A switch is ideal, but you can't switch on the high side. You just have to be physical. Watch Denver blow it up. You can call this next set a million different things, but I'll call it Hunt. It's really just picks involving one of the Jays and one of the guards. This was an Ime staple to empower the Jays. It's all about getting a small guard on one of the Jays. Tatum's the screener here, and Atlanta doesn't want to give up the switch so he can pop out to a 3. There are a few ways to defend this. Either give up the switch and let the C's play iso ball, or trust the point of attack defender to fight through on their own, which can lead to open 3s or open driving lanes. Or blitz and let the guard work in the short roll. I do think the Celtics have historically been too dependent on this mismatch hunting and playing stuck-in-the-mud iso offense, but the balance does feel better this year. They've tested the waters on other actions to attack mismatches that have a bit more juice. These slice screens are what Ty Lue would run for LeBron and what Spo runs for Jimmy Butler. The pop after the screen will be there if a team doesn't want to give up the switch. But with the guard as the screener, it's easier to fight through, as Denver blows this up late. Joe loves these double screens too. Most teams will switch the first screen, then play this straight up. So Jalen gets Monk on the pick and roll instead of Murray. Philly doesn't want to give up the switch here, so White slips out and gets an open corner three. Next, we'll take a quick look at Zipper. The screens involving bigs often involve this zipper screen into the pick and roll, which is just a small way to get the big slightly behind the action. It also keeps the guard in the dunker spot like we saw earlier. Finally, we'll look at wide, which was their key action last year. They go to this a lot less, but it's a pretty simple wide pin down for a wing, typically one of the Jays, and they can get creative with it from there, having the screen reversed if the defender tries to cheat. The gravity of the Jays and their willingness to set screens creates open looks for their centers. Look at the floor balance here too. There's no easy help, and it forces defenses to guard the action with just two defenders. Joe will get creative too with the action, with having a 7-3 guy who kinda looks like he's playing in work boots coming off the curl. We'll see some more complex plays, especially out of timeouts every game, but these are the main sets the Celtics play out of. You can talk about tweaks to the shot diet. I'd personally like to see a few more drives and play with a bit more pace, but I like what Joe has done with the offense. The sets play to their players' strengths, and they've got a bunch of counters for any defense. Like any team in Celtic green, the test will ultimately be in the playoffs. But it's interesting to see what Mazzulla's playbook is now that he's had a full year to prepare.